Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pieper Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brady Pieper. Today, we talk about NHL. More importantly, NHL Playoffs, which my team, the Colorado Avalanche, born and raised, finally made for 2 years straight. First time in over a decade, but we'll be covering all the first-round games. We'll go through a couple predictions, and we'll talk about which teams I believe have the biggest chance of winning it all this year. First off, all I have to say, thank you for the support. Please subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell notification after you do subscribe, and let's get this started. Welcome to the Pieper Sports Podcast. Well, we have a few different games that already occurred. I'm uploading this a tiny bit late because the first round did start yesterday. It started on Wednesday, of course. Now, I will say the games were really, really fun to watch. There were a few upsets. There were two that kind of surprised me. One of them being the Nashville Predators and the number one wild card spot with the Dallas Stars. The Stars ended up taking the first in this, as the Nashville Predators were first in the Central Division. Now, they are big rivals of the Colorado Avalanche, and I love to see every single game that they face off against each other. Now, it is a 1-0 lead. It doesn't mean too much, but the Stars did completely destroy them in the first round, or in the first game of the first round. The Nashville Predators ended up falling 0-1 in the series at home, which means the ball's now in Dallas's court. So we'll see if they can come up with that. I don't think the Stars have the talent nor the goaltending to get them to that next round, regardless of how far or how well they did the first time. The second upset was the Tampa Bay Lightning, the President Trophy winners, the team that has defied all odds and went out and destroyed everybody else, as it seems, ended up losing in a wild game against Columbus, as Columbus scores 4 goals straight to come back and defeat Tampa Bay in the first game of the series. So now Tampa Bay, the first seed President Trophy winner, for those of you who don't know, the President Trophy is the trophy that the team with the best record, the most amount of points at the end of a season, wins, and Tampa Bay won that. And they ended up dropping one to the Columbus Blue Jackets, arguably one of the worst teams in the playoffs, along with probably the Avalanche and the Stars, and in my opinion, the Penguins. But of the other 3 games that did occur last night, the Winnipeg Jets lose to the St. Louis Blues. Now, this one was a surprise to me. I love Winnipeg going into this. They can score a lot, but they're very inconsistent, and it shows. The Blues take one series lead, 1-0. The San Jose Sharks beat the Vegas Golden Knights. The Golden Knights don't have James Neal this year. The victory and miracle run that they ran through last year is not the same this year. They're going to face a lot of adversity coming into this matchup, and so far didn't do tremendously well. San Jose comes up with the 1-0 lead. We have the final game, which was a very, very fun game to watch, was the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the New York Islanders. Now, the Islanders take the game in overtime. It was a fantastic, fast, physical game, and it was fun to see. The overtime, playoff overtime, is always insane, especially with everything riding on the line. The Islanders end up taking the 1-0 series lead against the Penguins. Now, the 3 games we have tonight will be the Calgary Flames versus the Colorado Avalanche. We have the Capitals versus the Hurricanes, and the Bruins versus Toronto. Now, my picks for the games tonight, it is in Calgary for the Calgary Flames versus Colorado Avalanche. I think the Calgary Flames come out with a 4-3 win tonight. It'll be close, as the Mikko Rantanen, number 96 on the Colorado Avalanche, does return, and that brings a lot of firepower, but I don't think Calgary loses at home, especially not Game 1. We'll go Bruins versus Maple Leafs next. I think the Maple Leafs have the advantage in this one, even though they are the lower seed. The Maple Leafs have the better overall talent on their team, as the Bruins are a little bit older and they're aging. Now, physicality and experience does come into play, but I think the Maple Leafs definitely have that advantage over this. I think they take it 5-2. A little bit harder of a score in this one. And then finally, Capitals versus the wild card 1 spot Hurricanes. Capitals are going to win this. Alex Ovechkin is always a beast in the playoffs unless he's facing off against the Penguins. But this is an easy matchup, easy pick for the Capitals for the game tonight. I think that they win 4-1. Now, let's go down the list and think who of the teams in the playoffs has a good chance of winning it all. Of course, I'm going to start with the Colorado Avalanche, as at the beginning of the season they had an outstanding year. They did extremely well and were very, very, very good. On record, or on pace to be a record-setting team with all of the talent and the arguable best line in the entire league. They hit that skid in the middle, and they just haven't rebounded since. They have been doing tremendous in their past 13, 14 games, and that's what drove them to the playoffs, which I think is extremely important. I think momentum can carry this team easily to the second round. Well, not so easily against Calgary, but I think it can carry them to the second round and potentially to the conference finals. I don't think they have a chance at the Stanley Cup, but a miracle run can say anything. Other cup contenders, of course, Nashville. Nashville is always a cup contender. Pekka Rinne, PK Subban, that team is always scary. They have outstanding talent, great players, and great coaching. Goaltending being one of the most important things, especially in the playoffs, when you can put your goaltender out on his head and he still come up big and make big time saves when it matters. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the President Trophy winners, I think will win it all this year. They are so good. They won the President's Trophy because they won the most games in the regular season and they got the most points in the regular season. They are easily the favorites, but I can see them choking against potentially Toronto in that second round. I think if Columbus upsets them the first round, which I don't think that they will, it'll be crazy. But I think that there's a chance that they lose to Toronto in the second round, but Tampa Bay easily could make the finals and win this year. Other cup contenders, I will go Calgary Flames. Calgary Flames first in their division. Did a great job and kicked a lot of butts this season. They're young, they're fast. Johnny Hockey's on the ice at all times, and that team is scary. They have a chance. They have a tough matchup with the Avalanche in round one. It'll be a tough time to watch, but next round is going to be the true challenge for any team that comes out, because if it's the Flames or the Avalanche, it's a second round matchup with either San Jose or the Golden Knights. Now we will go to my final pick, which I don't. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Maple Leafs, Toronto. I have a friend who's a Montreal Canadiens fan, and I can't, it's hard to pick a Canadian team just because of that low-key rivalry we have together, but I gotta go with Toronto. They have young players, they have contracts, they have their players signed, they just need to maintain what they got in the future. This year, they have the talent and the experience to go far into the playoffs. It all depends on whether or not that young talent can come through in the playoffs. We'll see. It's going to be a very, very fun series. My overall prediction this year, however, for who I think the finals matchup is going to be, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Lightning coming out of the East, and we're going to go with the Calgary Flames coming out of the West. Flames versus Lightning, two powerful forces of nature but one team comes out on top, and that's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning are easily the best team in the playoffs, so they're easily the best team in the entire NHL. It's hard to bet against a team like this. I mean, they have an easy route to win it all this year. The East this year has powerhouse teams, but I don't see anybody contending with the Lightning. Honestly, they have the strongest players. They have an insane amount of goals scored per game. They have great defense and great goaltending. This team is going to be scary. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're probably going to sweep the second round. They're going to probably win 4-2 in the first round against Columbus, sweep the second round, and they're probably going to win against the Calgary Flames 4-2 in the finals and get their hands on the Stanley Cup and engrave their names forever in the cup itself. Now, my dark horse teams is definitely going to be the Avs. It's definitely going to be the Maple Leafs. Those are probably my two dark horse teams that I can say, they don't have much of a chance, but if those teams are the two teams that have the potential to scare everyone and make that miracle run and go all the way. Now, one thing about the Stanley Cup playoffs is playoff hockey is a completely different breed than anything else you experience. Playoff hockey is an intense, fast-paced, brutal experience. People are fighting for their lives, for their chance to be forever engraved, and have their names put into the history books as some of the few men that have made their mark on the Stanley Cup. Now, this is going to be a lot of fun. If you can, go to a game. There are games across the country, north, west, east, south. They're everywhere. Go to a game. Experience the electric atmosphere of a playoff hockey game. The loudness, the proximity to all that is there and all the fun that is around you. Watch the games on TV. Enjoy it. Hockey matters. Hockey is great. As I say that, this brings the end of the Pieper Sports Podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. Hit the bell notification after you subscribe so you can get notifications on everything that I upload through the channel. Please, I appreciate you guys so much. It is a wonderful, wonderful experience doing these videos, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your days and intro.